We live. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another episode of Word on the Ave. Got my peoples in the building. Corey Gilmore. Got Lauren. Got Randy. And we got a familiar face in the building. Ain't been around. Ain't been around in a few months, but she's in the building today. Her family.
What's
Ashley.
up?
You want to say what's up? You want to tell everybody what's up?
What's up? Thanks for having me. Glad to be back.
Anytime. We'll tell them
Look,
anything, Lauren, Randy.
Blessings.
Y'all be seeing my face pretty soon. Don't
Hey,
worry about
Randy.
it. Yeah, I say y'all see my face pretty soon. Don't
Hey,
worry about
Randy.
it.
He got
That barbershop closed.
ponytail right quick, man.
No, it ain't even like that. I gotta get my studio painted. So that's what that is.
Oh, okay. The barbershop, man. I thought you over there looking like the Geico caveman, man.
damn.
I do a little bit. I do. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I do a little bit.
Okay. So get this started. So man, let's talk about it, man. Today, I'm gonna set this up, man. Today I was on social media, like, a lot of us saw, peek through, see what's going on. I'm always posting my bullshit on there and whatnot, and then bouncing up out of there. Today, man, I saw something. It was one of those exposes, so to say. Everybody exposing everybody around the city, who does this, who does this, who does that, and it's effective. It's effective in many ways, especially when it comes to scrapist. I'm just gonna say scrapist. And this was exposing someone who was allegedly a scrapist. So I always like go to the comment section just to have fun, see what they talking about, man. I go in the comment section, and of course, man, I see people that talking about somebody on the. Oh no, the woman says she got a tattoo, and the guy got her drunk or whatnot. She passed out, and he tried to scrape her. Of course, in the comment section, I'm looking, and they're alluding to somebody that was I guess making a joke. They said people were either making jokes or making it lightly or trying to victim blame, right? So I find a thread where they're victim blaming. I mean, it's just going back and forth. It's ridiculous. Y'all got to see it. See, on one end, you had a woman that said, well, the victim she shouldn't have put herself in that position, right? And of course, everybody else is going to say, which I agree on the other people. The majority said you can't let a scrapist off the hook, no matter what. I don't care if a woman sitting up there butt naked, sprawled out on the damn ground. You have no right to do whatever. But one thing I noticed as I was looking at the back and forth, and I'm talking about it was ridiculous how much it was going back and forth. Of course, you know what it turned into. These females were going back and forth. I'll beat your ass. You a bit pussy ass nigga, blah, blah, blah. I'll beat your ass. And it turned into WWE threats, right?
Well, that escalated quickly.
Right?
And this went on, that thread. I think that particular thread at that time, I'm pretty sure there's more now. It had about 97 different comments and responses in that thread. And then they started a whole nother one. And that shit had like 50. So it was about 100, 140, 150 comments and responses total, just of I'll beat your ass and who's wrong, who's right. One thing that you did not see within these 140 responses were somebody at least seeing both sides. At least seeing both sides and saying, hey, well, at least I understand what you're saying. I understand that, yeah, you can't put yourself in this position because there are predators. There are predators and different things out here. I'm pretty sure, remember we talked about this, we did that episode. I don't think, Ashley and Lauren, I don't think y'all were here. Dante was there. Remember that, Randy?
Yes, sir.
Dante and Ryan were there, and we did that R. Kelly episode, and we were talking about the age of consent and different things like that, and talk about how they were vocal on how R. Kelly is wrong. They gonna also get on their children or whatnot. And the children should know better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which, I still wasn't gonna let R. Kelly or whatnot go, but I understood what they were saying. I understood exactly what they were saying. So they're gonna eliminate that problem, but they're gonna scold the child at the end. Y'all see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did not see none of this. You saw not one time. All it was one side, a group of people one side, and a group of people on the other side, and just bark, growling and barking at each other. And it was so mind blowing. It's like out of all these people, not one person could say, "Hey, can we just come together?" Or at least, and not even come together. Just one person out of those many say, "Hey, I see what both sides are saying." But no, it was all on one side. Like both thoughts can't operate within the same space. This brings me to what we're going to talk about today. What's missing and what many people are missing in just life in general, society and everything. This is the main thing we always talk about. Is one of the most important things to have is the ability of discernment. The ability of discernment, and we're missing this completely. I want to take you to Mayor Quinton Lucas, Kansas City's mayor. Of course, everything's opening up since all the lockdowns and everything, different restrictions are being lifted. Everybody's, I guess people are going back to work. Some they put out orders, I guess. They put out orders, the city or wherever, they put out different orders saying you got to return back to work, or it'll be a penalty, which I don't understand how any city council, any senate, or anything can make a decision for a person's personal business. Can't tell a person how to, but I'm pretty sure I will get into that. We'll get into that. So Mayor Quinton Lucas opened up Kansas City. We'll talk about Kansas City. He opened up Kansas City, but what he provided was a 10-10-10 rule. So no more than 10 people in a building. Y'all know
Correct.
What the other 10s were for?
It was 10 people, 10 occupancy, 10 minutes. I forgot what the other 10 was, but yeah.
It's 10% of the max occupancy, 10 or less people, or what last thing you said, Randy?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Yep. They actually timing you how long you in there.
So we had Quinton Lucas yesterday posted. He posted some comments that I guess were on this looks like Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just comments from two different people, but it was 3 comments total. Said first one was from I'm not gonna say their name, and I'm not gonna say anybody's name, not even in the Facebook comments that we're about to read. One said, the first guy said, "We have changed your name to Quinton Lucas Adolf Hitler." The same person under that puts,
Wow.
same person puts, "You will never, ever hold public office again. When the chips are down, you turn into an Adolf Hitler. Informants, spies, and tattletales. You and Adolf have a lot in common. Never again will KC vote for filth again." Okay? Got that one. And then he got one more. This guy. He says, "If you continue to infringe on the First Amendment rights of the people, you will be most likely hung by your labia in public. The militia is watching you. Militia is watching you and your menstrual cycle. So
oh my gosh.
on us. That's my one problem that I have with stuff like this are ad hominems. But ad hominems are stuff that has nothing to do with the, all the name calling and different stuff like that that don't have nothing to do with the topic or case at hand. I don't advise anybody to engage in ad hominems, and that's the menstrual cycle part. But what? Okay, so Mayor Quinton Lucas responded. He posted it. He put, "This is why I shouldn't do social media on Sundays. Look, we're trying to do what we can to save lives. For those of you who think a smart, responsible approach to this crisis should remain, I ask, should okay, for those of you who do what the hell, man? For those of you who do think a smart, responsible approach to this crisis should remain, okay, he's not using uh his whatever, all this stuff, his apostrophes and shit. I ask you to reach out to your leaders so that inboxes aren't just filled with hate. Leaders, y'all know how I feel about leaders. I'd rather people just lead instead of have the title of leaders. But we'll get into that. So, what do y'all think? What do y'all think about this? Because this has been, it's been back and forth. We've seen the protesters protesting the stay-at-home orders. A lot of people, the majority have been like, stay home, and I hope they keep the economy closed and different things like that. Because that's mainly what this back and forth is about. What do y'all think about this exchange right here?
I mean,
Let's go first. Got Lauren?
yeah, see, I'm cool with people having their own opinion. Like, if you tell me my breath stink, I'm saying hey, look, that's your opinion. You know what I'm saying? I think the issue that I have is when it comes to threatening somebody else's life. I think that's where I feel like it got out of hand. I'll say it got out of hand. Like, we live in a society where dialogue is abnormal now. You can't have dialogue where you have opposing sides, but they can actually have a real conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you ask me personally, Lauren, how do you feel about, because actually, uh, nobody's required to go back to work until the 18th. Yeah, the 18th. You know what I'm saying? Like, employers can't force you to go back to work until the 18th is what has happened now. It was supposed to be today on the 4th, but then it got extended to the 18th. So employers actually can't make you go back to work until then. But I had to look at both sides of it. From a small business owner perspective, those are the people that are truly affected. The billionaires are like, in the house, I'm getting my residuals. You know what I'm saying? I go out when I want to go out. I think that small business owners are the ones that are impacted the most from the stay-at-home order. And I look at things like barbers and hairstylists and things of that nature, and I'm like, do what you got to do to survive. You know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do to continue eating. If you can't cut at the shop or do hair at the shop, set up appointments in your own home, in your private property. They can't tell you what to do on your private property, so to say. So move your business there. I mean, my barber actually has been open by appointment only, like one in, one out, and that's actually what is the first phase of a lot of this is, places like that, it's one in, one out. They don't want nobody, they don't want no barbershop quartets right now. You know what I'm saying? The quartets gotta wait. We're supposed to wait.
Mm-hmm.
All the hatred is necessary. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that, people are upset at, his leadership. Some people, just want caution thrown to the wind, and whoever gets affected gets affected, and those that don't, we move on with life. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
then you have another group that's saying, that they believe that this is 100% real. Some people believe that it's even underreported. And both sides have the right to feel how they feel. What I like I said, what I don't feel like people should do is threaten somebody's life over this, because I believe it's real. How real it is, I don't know, but I do believe that this is real. And, a lot of times we don't respond to things until they hit us smack in our face. You know what I'm saying? If you have, if your auntie died from COVID, then you want to stay at home. But before then, you talk shit. You know what I'm saying? But as soon as somebody close to you dies, then you want to take it seriously. And I think that that's where the ignorance comes into play. If you choose not to believe it, have your research, have your evidence that it's not real. If you choose to believe it, there's plenty of evidence, plenty of research out there that says it's real. I told the story last time where my wife has a friend that's a nurse that went to New York, and it was no lie that they was throwing dead bodies in trailers because they were dying so fast that there was no room, there was no time, so they was literally dumping bodies in trailers and then pulling the trailers out when they was full. And like that's real. That's a real story. That's factual evidence. Whether or not they died from COVID is another issue, but people were dying at an alarming rate. And so, but all that threatening, you can miss me with that. You know what I'm saying? No.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is there a cutoff point? Is there a breaking point where, and I'm me personally, I'm not gonna tell nobody to go out threaten or threaten harm or different things like that. But we got different things that we view as harmful to say, our personal rights or whatever it may be, are harmful to our personal quality of life, or what we have projected as what we want for our quality of life. So is there ever a point to where it could possibly be justified?
I guess you have to ask the question in that case, is it only Lucas, or is he just a spokesman?
No, it's not only Lucas, because Lucas,
he become the scapegoat, obviously, because he's, the title that he holds. But I think that's where, if you have an opposition, you can't just point fingers at one person. There's multiple making this decision.
Let me ask you this, and I'll get to everybody else. Let me ask you this. Don't we always say, and like I said, y'all better not don't do nothing to this man. I'm not advocating. I'm just asking some questions, because we're talking about when dealing with, like I said, militias or whatnot. Is there, don't we always say that it always starts on the local level?
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with things starting on a local level. What I'm simply saying is that he's not the only one involved in this decision in totality.
Okay.
So are you going after him because he's the face? But we also have made multiple comments about other people behind the scenes truly being the one making the decisions, and the other person that comes out and makes the statement is the person that takes the fall. Look at it from a national government standpoint. Do you really think that the president is the only one doing stupid shit? Nah. It's a whole group of them. What I'm saying? Republicans, Democrats, all of that. You know what I'm saying? From all sides of the coin. So I would never encourage anybody to respond like this. Like, if you feel like your human rights are being violated, or you feel like your quality of life is being violated, then why not specifically get into that instead of just saying, I'm gonna hang you by your labia? That's the white person that said.
Hey, what the hell is a labia, man? I know I pronounced it. I've heard it.
Oh my God.
What's the labia?
Hey, we not gonna talk about that, Corey.
Oh my God.
Not on Facebook.
It's something I'm supposed to know. What the hell
Not on Facebook.
Ask Sierra. I'll leave
Oh
it
Yeah,
as
my God.
yeah.
Oh,
Ask your
okay.
boo.
It's
Ask your boo.
I'm out of this discussion.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Just that
Okay.
fast.
You figured it out?
Okay, that's funny. That's funny as hell. I didn't know that. Look, I'm using labia. That
Eggnog.
labia. That labia. Okay, Ashley, what do you think about everything? What you think about everything that's going on?
Being in the restaurant business, for me, I don't feel comfortable with us opening back up out here. I didn't know that in Missouri that they were forcing people to open. You said the 18th?
Yeah. Yep.
That to me, I think that's insane.
You're
Out here,
you're in Atlanta, Georgia, right?
right in Atlanta,
Yeah.
right now, the way it stands is the businesses can open if they want to. It's up to the owner. Now, the thing is, out here for a lot of the employees, if your business decides to open and you reject your job, they cut off your unemployment. So to me, it's a way for the government to kind of take off that, that burden on them and put it on the employer, on the employers at that point. But I also feel like if businesses decide to open up, especially small businesses who need the money, they kind of implemented these rules where it's only, I think, 10 people per 500 square feet. Everyone has to wear a mask. There's a lot of things in play here where, we have to provide gloves and do all this stuff. And, everyone has to have their temperature checked when they come in, all employees out here. So there's a lot of rules, but at the same time, I don't see people on this end rushing out to, go eat dinner and hang out in these places or stay in a place for so long to where they feel like, it's they'd rather just stay at home than have to do all this extra stuff. So I think they should have choices. I don't feel like it should be forced though. Like, okay, we're opening up. This is what you have to do. Like, I don't think that people should be put out like that. Like I said, I think we should have a choice if we want to go out there. Some people that feel like, hey, shit, ain't nothing gonna happen to me. I'm good, and let them people go out. And then other people, I feel like don't force them to put their lives on the line. Because all it takes is one person to be sick. No matter how much you try to social distance when you're in a building where you're working with people. Let's be realistic. You're coming into contact with a lot of stuff at that point. And I don't think you should put people's life on the line like that if they don't feel like it's the time to go out. You know what I mean? Also, don't take away their benefits or things like that and make them feel like, they have to go to work or they can't pay their bills and do all this other stuff. I think it's wrong. Like I said, I think the government and a lot of the different states right now feel a lot of pressure with paying all this money out and doing all this, and they're trying to get ease people off of unemployment, and so they're forcing all these openings and stuff, and I'm not okay with that.
They're only in it for economic. They're trying to get that economic burden off of their shoulders. I mean, sit there, you think about all the time. I mean, and if any time was the time to have, to go into the reserves, all the money that's been siphoned from the American people for years or whatnot, a time like this would be the time. But problem is they don't, they don't even work like that. They dump more money and print off more money.
Well, the thing is, a lot of the small business loans they have, my boss was explaining to me, like they have to spend a certain amount of money. They have to rehire a certain amount of employees, and they have to spend a certain amount of money in order to keep the money and not have to pay it back.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I saw that.
So they're forced to hire these employees back. Now, luckily with my job, we're still not open for business. We have done like slight takeout type stuff, but they have to stay outside. Like we just drop it off on the table. So there's only 4 people in the building, at a time. But he hired back employees, so we are hired as a full staff, but they don't have to come to work.
Yeah,
it was just a way to get them off the unemployment.
All right.
Now that's only that with that whole loan thing and all that crazy stuff. That's only up until I think he said mid-June. Then after that, it's like, what do small business owners do? You know what
Everybody's
I'm saying?
on their own. No.
Exactly. Everybody's on their own. So right now it's just one of those things where like, okay, you just wait it out and see. But, you know, at this point, we're not going to force employees to come to work. We're not going to force open a business that's really just not ready with all this shit still going on.
Right.
Because all it takes is one employee to get sick, and then what? Now you shut down, and everybody's like, okay, I'm sick, or this person's sick, and you know, that's just a lot, or exposing people and stuff.
So what kind of mandate do they have in place? Should you have, let's say you put 15 to 20 people, have them in your place of business. If y'all decide that, hey, we want to go double. Oh, well, y'all not doing 10. What's y'all capacity right now? Y'all doing 10?
It's 10 people per 500 square feet.
Okay, 10 people
and
per
then
500.
And then you have to mark off, like, so in the restaurant, if we wanted to do it, they still have each table each person has to be within 6 feet. You have to like use disposable menus, disposable silverware, and the servers, like, it's almost like they have to take your order like from afar. You get what I'm saying? It's just a lot. Like, who wants to come dine like that? Like, most people are just, at this point, are just going to come pick up food and leave.
Yeah.
Because the way that they have it set up for places here, it's kind of like, it's not really realistic to really have a functioning business like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because patrons have to wear masks, employees have to wear masks. So what are you just like taking your mask on and off? And then you have to have a certain amount of time in between each person coming in to where you sanitize, you know, the whole area and stuff. So it's a lot.
Let me ask you this, but what happens if y'all decide we don't care, we don't want anybody, y'all don't gotta wear a mask, y'all make that personal decision?
Well, the mask thing and the temperature, like, okay, so all employees have to wear masks and you have to have your temperature check going in. I think that's mandatory. I left the paper. Next time I stop up in my job, I'm gonna bring you the paperwork that they have. But it's like they mailed it out to each business. Like, it's a lot of shit on there.
It's mandatory.
Like, I think if somebody was to report you, you could get shut down. I think really? that's what would happen at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, and they are out here. They are out here shutting businesses down. Trust believe.
Unless you're outside. I think if you're outside seating, it's a different kind of rule. But inside the building, I believe you have to, out here in Atlanta at least, you have to have the mask and you have to be within a certain amount of people. And you only can have so many people in your building dining at the same time. So
right.
And like I said,
down here in Dallas, there was a lady that was doing her hair out of her house. Somebody blew the whistle on her, and they put on the Dallas whatever health page that's on Facebook. They put they highlighted her. They put her on blast to let her know that, you know, if you don't do this or make
I think I saw that.
Make the appropriate changes by then, we're gonna take this course of action. So, you've seen they offered rewards for people who blow the whistles and different things.
Well, I think that kind of is going to come down to like health inspection stuff. So like, you know how like a restaurant can close if you fail health inspection. They probably will have it to where people will come in randomly and just check, and you fail that fucking health inspection, which is like, you know, whatever mandatory stuff they got going on right now. It's probably over for your ass.
Yeah.
OSHA.
It's crazy because they it's like tourist manumission. It's like manumission in a way. You gotta look at you definitely gotta keep the health of people you know what I'm saying, in perspective. But there's always a back door. There's always a back door to everything. before we get into these comments. We'll talk about that in a second. Randy, what you got? Randy's here. Y'all may not see it on the live screen because he's like I said, Randy ain't had his haircut, man. Randy ain't got his beard lined up. But he's in the building too. What you think, Randy?
Honestly, man, my only thing is I mean, you give everybody freedom of speech. That's fine. So it's perfectly good. You know what I'm saying? You can, if that was me, you can say everything you want about me. That's fine and good. You know what I'm saying? As long as my family doesn't get involved. You know what I'm saying? If you bring up my family members, then that's when things can go left real quick, real quick. So I mean, that's it. Like everybody has their opinion. You said what?
You gonna pull out that man bun?
That ain't the only thing gonna get pulled out allegedly. But yeah, man, it's everybody has their own opinions. You know what I'm saying? Let them speak. You know what I'm saying? What they're gonna do besides verbally hurt you.
Yeah.
And if you can take a verbal beating, you should be good. But yeah.
Before I'm gonna outline this is what I say about health inspectors. Y'all already know. I'm pretty sure y'all know how I think about these many different things. This is what I say about health inspectors. I don't think that they should have the ability, or the city had the ability to shut you down. But if anything, the health inspector should be able to go in there and make a report and have that report for all to see, so it can be up, because you never know. There might be there's a lot of weirdos out here. There might be somebody who likes a booger on their cheeseburger, some crazy crap like that, who doesn't give a damn. One thing I always is that I always look for is, free market.
No damn booger on their cheeseburgers.
Hey man,
I don't think it works like that. They give you time, like, so when the health inspector comes in and they come and check, it's random. They don't tell you when they're coming, and it's basically they just want to make sure you like, okay. So there's like a guideline, like there's a serve safe type book for like management, where it just kind of tells you, what temperature food has to be, how cold your freezer has to be. They want to make sure that the servers know how to wash their hands. They're not checking how you necessarily make how you're putting the burger on there and all that stuff. They're just more checking the temperature regulations and your like cleanliness. But once they come in, if you fail it, they don't just shut you down. They give you time to fix it.
You got time,
But what they do is put you on blast. Your ass fail that shit and you get like a fucking 50 or whatever. They gonna put it out there and everybody's gonna know about it.
And that's the extent. That's what I'm saying. I believe that should be the extent when it comes to, businesses or whatnot. I'm a believer in free market, because like I said, you see me put it all the time. I'm always for uncomfortable freedom versus peaceful slavery. I call it slavery because when you don't have control of your future, you're always subject to that. We go back to
this booger on the cheeseburger.
Hell no.
Like our leaders, and I always said, no matter how comfortable here in America is, you got to look at everywhere else. We're here in 2020, and you look at what China is going through. China's actually being commended by the globalists for how they handle their people, and we're talking about a communist country. We're talking about a communist country, like it just completely. That's what the whole fight with Taiwan was about. So you got different places like this all over the world, which a lot of them are influenced by American leadership. And so we look at our different liberties that we have, because we're not free, but we have liberties. And you don't think that that's right there at our doorstep. If it's somewhere else, just like Martin Luther King says, just justice anywhere is an injustice for all. Because that means it could be right there on your doorstep. And what now that you see during this this pandemic, you know what I'm saying, this pandemic or whatnot, is, you know, Hillary Clinton said it. I think George Bush, a few people have said this, that never let a good crisis go to waste. And so they taking the opportunity now because of necessity. Like I talk about, the Hegelian dialectic is the problem, the response to the problem, and the solution. The same person that brings the solution is the one that brought the problem in the first place. And so when you allow this different leadership to have these different controls, you always leave the door open. You know, you always leave the back door open for anything. And we're talking about just as, and let's get into it, because we're talking about as in, you know, and I bring up the Constitution. The Constitution is basically bullshit. They basically blow their nose with the Constitution. Black people especially ain't had that Constitution ain't been honored for them. But this is what the people in Washington, D.C. claim to be going by. They claim to be going by the Constitution when Trump said he would be opening up the whole country. And they said, wait, you don't have the federal power to do that. In which, no, he doesn't. He doesn't have the federal power. By the 10th Amendment, he does not have the federal power to do that. But they only bring up the Constitution when it serves whatever agenda or what type of narrative they're trying to play. Because they'll put in bump stock bans and talk about we can shut down private property with the Second Amendment bump stock bans. You have the right, you know, it shall not be infringed. It does not say under any condition. It says shall not be infringed. That simple. Shall not be infringed. That means no background checks or anything, for the very reason to keep you from getting backdoored, from getting taken advantage of. And so that, you know, that and the right to a militia, and also the Fourth Amendment, which is private property. But I wanted to, so that's what these people, this is what the argument is. You're seeing more of the argument being an economic versus health thing, when those are actually the wrong arguments. That's the wrong argument anybody should have. It should always come down to human rights. Human rights always supersedes economy, personal health, and everything, because without human rights, you won't be able to properly sustain either one of those. Keep in mind, they're talking about that Bill Gates is in the news. This is not conspiracy theory. Bill Gates is on CNN. He is on the news every damn day talking about mandatory fucking vaccines. This dude is funding the ID. He funded the Event 201. I've said this over and over again. If y'all don't know about that, go to Event 201. It is real. It is a real training exercise. It mapped out everything that was going to happen. They had this on October 18, 2019, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The ID 2020. The ID 2020 is funded by Microsoft, funded by the Rockefeller Foundation, funded by Gavi, the vaccine company, funded by all of that. So you think it's conspiracy theory or whatnot, all that stuff, everything is right there in your face. Now, as far as them talking about injecting the ID into your skin, we don't have proof of all of that, whatnot. We don't know, but we can say, you know, everything else can be confirmed. Let's go to the, so knowing this, you know, you can't trust your leaders. So this is what their fight is about. It's a human rights fight. But what you're seeing is the majority on the page are, of course, going to be for Mayor Lucas. Lord, you up, man? You look like you sleep, man. You good, man? Look, you get some good rest. I said, Lord. You over there dozing off, man. Am I do you like the teacher, man? Am I tiring you, man? Nah.
I didn't see him.
I'm just listening, Coach. We good.
So all of these are, you know, in favor of the mayor. I'm in favor of the mayor. I'm watching this person says, I'm watching my beloved KC from LA, but my entire immediate family of 6 is under your care and our KC home. Thank you for being a leader who sees the greater common good and acts in wisdom. Many across the nation are grateful for you. I don't think I can begin to put this into words. The peace your leadership brings me, since I can't be with the ones I love. It's viable. It makes sense. You know what I'm saying? You want to know that, she wants to make sure that her loved ones are protected. Like you said, nobody's thinking of that back door that I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I'm extremely proud to be a KC resident. You got something on? I thought you were about to say something. I'm extremely proud to be a KC resident with you as our mayor, as I'm constantly telling my husband how grateful, this and that. This is all it is. If you go down, I don't know if y'all can see that screen. It's probably, it's too damn white, but y'all not gonna see that. It's 2,000 comments, and I don't think you can find one in here that goes against this. Mayor, hurt people. Hate fuels more hate. Continue to do what you're doing because you're doing it out of love for your community. Pray for those that are angry, confused, and bitter. Some people are so horrible. Think about this. There's nobody out of all these comments, nobody is going against this. Nice touch of misogyny from that constant. Hey, they brought misogyny in. I guess with the labia comment, that's funny.
Oh my God.
Nice touch of misogyny from that constitutional scholar in the second comment. So everybody's going along with it. Now, they could possibly be deleting people's comments. I've seen this for myself. I've seen people bring up the angle that I have, bring that up to their city mayor or whatnot, and they get completely just ignored. We'll just go to the next thing. I'm talking about I've seen it twice during city hall meetings, and the other one was in Oklahoma, and I forget where the other one was at. Just completely, we don't want to address that, and we'll just move on to the next thing. So you're seeing a lot of that. You've seen it when, you saw it when Bernie Sanders was talking about different things Black people were expecting from him if they wanted to vote or whatnot. And remember how he just kind of whatever, in that Bernie Sanders voice that he does. He just kind of brushed it off, and that's what you continue. You've had countless stories of senators, politicians doing this type of thing. So we don't give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe this anger comes from that a voice of people who have been voiceless for so damn long that it's like, like, what the fuck? So you just, at times you lash out. Think about the times, the police brutality and different things like that. You can't tell nobody nothing when it comes to that. I'm not gonna go advise, nobody go getting at no officers or whatnot like that. I would never advise that, especially not one that has nothing to do with it. But a lot of times, wouldn't y'all say that some of the anger when it comes to that is it's not misplaced? Wouldn't y'all say that? Or am I wrong?
Nah, that's accurate.
Yeah. So there's one particular one that says the Constitution does not import an absolute right in each person to be at all times in all circumstances wholly freed from restraint. Instead, a community has the right to protect itself from an epidemic. This is all a quotation. Its members may at times, under pressure of great dangers, be subjected, key words, you got restraint, freed from restraint, and subjected. So to such restraint, to be enforced by reasonable regulations as the safety of the general public may demand. This is from, and then they quote that from Supreme Court Justice John Marshall Harlan. Jacobson versus Massachusetts 7-2 majority opinion February 1905. So they made sure they got detailed on what was the outcome of that case in majority opinion. I know how I feel about majority opinions because it leaves the minority enslaved to that majority opinion, especially in stuff like this. When you're talking about Supreme Court and what they feel and their different rulings, did we not forget the Dred Scott decision? Did we not forget the Dred Scott decision? What was the Dred Scott? Dred Scott decision. And I just want to lay, you know what I'm saying, everything out for the people real quick.
Are you angry with the fact that people should like he shouldn't have that support?
Huh?
Are you trying to say that people need to open up their eyes and they shouldn't be? Do you feel people are blindly supporting them?
We're stuck into the cult of personality, right? So these leaders, they're put in a good light because we only know what we know. Trump, different senators, the Democrats, whoever it is who wants to put whatever in place, they know they can't do this on a federal level. So what they use is influence through your media, through television, through your celebrities. Think about all the celebrities all of a sudden are on the same page. That's why I like Little Boosie, because Little Boosie said, fuck that. I ain't getting down with that shit. Fuck what y'all talking about. But all the celebrities are on the same page and it stay home. And like I said, all of that is viable. It's cool, but nobody has a difference of opinion. Nobody has a difference of opinion. Nobody's coming from the angle that I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's thinking that same thing because I fail to believe anything that I've ever thought of. Anything that I've ever thought of and said, hey, that's a pretty funny idea or something like that or unique idea. I'm pretty sure I can go type it in on my computer and it's been thought of at some point in history. After billions of people on this damn planet. So you mean to tell me none of these people have the same thoughts or even bringing up the angle that I'm bringing? And they're just leaving it with that no discernment, just leaving it at economy versus health, but human rights is thrown completely out the window. But when we talk about abortion, now human rights, we want to talk about human rights, which I'm for. It's up to the person. Now, I do believe a life is involved or whatnot, but like I said, it's not up for your government to make that decision on punishing you or whatnot. I believe in a higher power, and I believe there's a lot of people, the majority of people I meet believe in some form of a higher power, a most high something. They may not they may not believe in the concept of God or whatever, you know what I'm saying, whatever that we've been taught, but they believe in some form of higher power. So it's up to that higher, if there's a higher power and a higher judge, it should be left up to that. But when you start sitting up there, you start talking about, well, it says in the Supreme Court, that that, you know, they ruled 7-2 against Dred Scott. It says that it ruled 7-2 decision against Dred Scott that black people are not included and were not intended to be included under the words citizens in the Constitution. And this is 1857. And this chick is talking about what's she talking about? What, 50 years later? 50 years later? So you're trying to use some Supreme Court decision to make that. There's also a Supreme Court decision within that same, if not Massachusetts, it's either Connecticut, where there's a Supreme Court decision to where they can fucking vaccinate you. They can force vaccination on you. Literally says force vaccination on you. We're not going to get into what's in the vaccination and is it baby parts and is it mercury and stuff like that. If a person wants to get a vaccination, it should be their choice if they want a vaccination or not. It cannot be forced upon a person. This is foolishness. You gotta see they do this because they do this shit because first of all, it's the UN's agenda. It's the UN's agenda. Look up the UN treaties or whatnot. United Nations. All you got to go to their page, and it's all about under the guise of, oh, we're making a better tomorrow, and we want to help the we want to help the poor. It's always under, you know what I'm saying, where we come in peace and you know what I'm saying, it's always some type of necessity to it. I don't know. What y'all got anything, man? Y'all want to add to what I'm saying? Are y'all in agreement? Do y'all have any flaws, or do y'all see any flaws in what I'm saying?
No.
Nah, I mean, for me personally, I agree with everything you're saying. You know, I think where people get bamboozled a lot of the times is in the presentation. You know, if it's presented in a way that's attractive to the way that people think, of course they're gonna fall hook, line, and sinker. And, you know, you talking about these specific comments where everybody's agreeing with, you know, Quinton Lucas. You already know that they got some Facebook administrator on his page going comment by comment, deleting everything that was adversarial, because it's just not a good look. You know what I'm saying? It's not a good look for him and his I guess his group. So of course comments have been deleted because you're not gonna have that many comments and not at least find one person that completely opposes everything that was presented, even if they doing it just to play devil's advocate. Somebody's going to oppose everything that's being done, and we know from all the comments, not only here, but you know, with the protest in Michigan, where you know they stormed the Capitol building in Michigan with guns. So we know there's opposition to this thought process.
You know, ain't no niggas gonna get away with that. They would have dropped a nuke. They would have dropped that updated version of COVID on them niggas.
Oh my God, I
can't. And COVID. And COVID 91 on them niggas.
Yeah. So now, I mean, of course, there's opposition. I think people have the right to oppose any thought process, anything that's out there. You know, and for me, you know, regarding all of this, is, you know, respect everybody's right to their opinion.
Yeah.
You know, that's my thing. I'm like, look, if I want to stay in the house, call me stupid if you want to.
Yeah.
But I have the right to stay in the house. You know,
Right.
if I decide that, you know, I want to go to the park, you know what I'm saying, and, you know, play with 50 people, let me go to the park and play with 50 people. You at home, so it shouldn't affect you.
Right.
Well, it could. I mean, it could. Let's look at it like this, because it can, if it's the way that they say this is, we're just going off of taking the word of what mainstream media is saying what it is. Mm-hmm. Let's say that it is bringing more, it's spreading out even more. Mm-hmm. Like I said, that's going to put the people around, that puts our family members, our loved ones. I've got people in the hospital. I got people in the hospital field that I got to deal with it up close, so they don't have enough equipment. Now, like I talked to my family, and I said, very well, I'm not saying this is what it is, but like I said, always look for that back door. They could be, remember, Trump sent, I think, millions, a bunch of equipment over to China, PPE equipment, but we don't have none. We have the warehouse and everything is right here within the U.S. So there's a possibility that this could, just that angle alone. Remember when you saw the nurses saying we don't have enough or whatnot? That angle alone could be being used. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm not conspiracy theory. I'm just saying use your minds and don't trust the people who are leading. So with that being said, with it, that it can very well be your loved one. I'm talking about spouse, children, or whatnot. But look at it from that point. Does the government still have the right to do what they do and make your decision? Do they have jurisdiction over your life for the quote unquote betterment of your life? Do they have that jurisdiction?
Yeah, because I mean, you giving it to them.
Yeah.
If you give it to them, I mean, yeah, they do have that jurisdiction.
But only if you give it to them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's a loaded statement, though. I mean, if you want to go against the grain, by all means, go against it. You know what I'm saying? Accept the consequences, of a majority, and that's the thing about the minority is, if there's a majority, the minority has to accept the consequences of the majority. Think about, when Nat Turner went and did what he did.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a minority group and they all felt the same way. And so they went and handled their business, but the majority, they met opposition by the majority. And so, they lost their lives as a result of that, and I'm not saying that this is that deep, but it's the same concept, the concept is the same. So
yeah, what did Harriet Tubman allegedly say? He said, I could have freed more slaves if only they knew if only they knew they were slaves, or something to that extent. Like I said, it was never proven that she actually said that, but like I said, allegedly. William Pitt, there's always a necessity. There's always going to be a need for necessity to take away your person. Fuck the Constitution. I'm talking about your human, inalienable, God-given rights to do what you want to do, be able to move how you want to move, and let God be the judge or whatnot. But there's always going to be a necessity, some type of reason. There's always going to be a need to take those away, or we got to step in. Like I said, that William Pitt the Younger says, the necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedom. It is the argument of tyrants, and it is the creed of slaves. I want people to, if this type of logic is not something, like I said, people gotta get re-educated. Nobody is stupid. People aren't dumb. People, you got some, you know what I'm saying? But no, people, man, I don't look at people as stupid. I don't look at people as dumb, less than, or whatnot. It's just, in my eyes, it's all it is. It's miseducation, man. We only know what we know. We only know what, you know what I'm saying, Big Mama taught us, or Pops taught us, or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? And what we learned, and going through the cycles of life, and, earning the degrees or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Going through the proper steps so we can be accepted or achieve what we need to get, you know what I'm saying? So that's all we know. Just people are just miseducated.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So let's say that, you have a given topic and there's 50 different, we're going to say 50,000 different opinions on it, right?
Uh-huh.
So does that create more chaos?
Huh?
Does that create more chaos?
It will create chaos, but that's the thing about truth. Truth is divisive. Truth will always be divisive, especially when fear, different things like fear, and you know what I'm saying, and like just personal opinions, emotions, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? When those get involved.
But are you saying there's a central truth in everything?
Yes, there's a central truth in everything. There's only one truth. A lot of people like to say my truth, living my truth, different things. Man, there's only one truth. There's only one truth. That all of those different things, you think I'm pretty sure there are different emotions or different fears or whatnot, but when they do science and they agree upon something, there's still an agreement. They have to come to, and there's convincing, but they still got to have that conversation, right? They have to have that conversation, and they have to test. They have to test each other's theories against each other, so they can arrive to those truths. That's why they say, even when they talk about the Constitution or whatnot, say we hold these truths to be self-evident, because there's evidence. It's not just based off how I feel or what I think. It has to be self-evident.
I said it sounds good, don't it?
Sounds good. And like, it sounds good in an ideal world. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It sounds good in an ideal world. And ideal worlds are just ideals, but we have to The only way we're gonna get out of this, man, is if we move further toward those ideals, no matter how absurd or hard they sound. It's the only way. It's the only way out. Or we got to keep eating. We got to keep eating what we got right now for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know what I'm saying? And our kids are gonna keep eating what we got for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dick Gregory, man. Dick Gregory. I'm not gonna say too much after this. Dick Gregory said something, man. He talked about how when during the civil rights era, man, how they tried to leverage his wife and his son against him. Tried to leverage his wife and his son, tried to threaten him. Now, I'm not going to repeat what Dick Gregory said, but there's a lesson to be learned within that. You can't leverage. He basically said, and I'm not saying not everybody has to accept what I'm about to say, but think about this, especially when you're dealing with in war, because you're in war right now. That's why I think it's crazy for people to even be partying, because like I said on that other video that I was doing driving in the car, what I say, where do niggas always die at? Mostly at them parties, house parties at or at the club or whatnot, because they think it's time to go kick out, get drunk or whatnot, and then somebody they funking with see them and it's on site or whatnot, you know, and they're gonna get that opportunity to get at them. So you can't be partying doing the damn. It's the same thing, man. Like it's not those kids out there partying or whatnot, doing what they doing. People up at Smoke Park, or you seeing people up having house parties in Chicago. It's not smart. It's definitely not smart. But they have the right to. When it comes to stuff like this, when you're in war, man. Dick Gregory, I'll just say Dick Gregory said, man, everybody's life is up for sacrifice if they on the same page. And I'll just leave that right there. Randy, you've been quiet for a minute, man. You got anything, man?
In a really bad day, man.
I'm good.
You ain't came on screen.
You all good? All right, man. I'm just making sure you're still there, man. Making sure the Illuminati ain't got you, dog.
Oh my gosh.
Make sure the Illuminati ain't got you, dog. Well, man, y'all, man, I gotta get to the laundry, man. They close at 11, man, and I left my damn clothes in there about 8:40, man. So they probably got my shit thrown out on the floor, but before we close out, man, y'all got anything y'all want to lead the people or whatnot? All right, Randy, your mom said we just announced 3,000 more deaths with COVID-19 in Missouri. Was 3,000 deaths or cases? Cases. Okay,
I have no clue.
Deaths.
No, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was cases.
Pretty sure cases. Yeah, 3,000. That's a lot. That's a lot. I'll look into it. Take a look into it. Dante in the building.
Donnie! Uncle Donnie!
Dante Spencer, man, what's happening, man? His work, he says, work or die. So now, man, other than that, man, y'all got anything else, man? You want anything you want to add? Want to plug anything? You know what I'm saying? No.
Only thing.
Ashley, go ahead.
Go ahead.
What?
You want to plug something? Go ahead.
No, just follow me on social media, guys. I see it. Guys trip here. That's about it. I think I be posting enough, so
Okay.
I be on it.
Got something, Randy?
The only thing I gotta say is, man, stay aware, stay vigilant. Just know that you will be looked at as a legend if you go against the grain in the future. Just know that. And what I want to let you guys know is, you know what I'm saying, you know I'm the ignorant, eclectic mad genius of the group. So on coming up every Sunday, you know what I'm saying, Sunday Vibes on Instagram. So stay tuned. That's it.
Lauren, you got something, man? Got anything you want to plug, man? Got anything closing statements?
Nothing tonight. Stay blessed.
Stay blessed.
All right. You know, check us out. Check us out. We'll be back. Check us out on here on this page. On here on Word on the App, we'll have more material, man. Check out our sports, man. We're gonna be, you know what I'm saying, up in the ante on sports, man. Just having those fun conversations because we enjoy sports and whatnot, no matter how, you know, how much of the part of the bread and circus we're aware of that, but we still like to have fun. Sports is just like the competitive nature of it. My stepfather always told me, he said, though, competition is white people shit. he always told me. He said, don't ever forget that. One of the realest things I ever heard. And once you really apply it to different things, you'll understand that one. But man, other than that, man,
I get things about sneakers too.
Yeah. Republicans buy sneakers too. Man, other than that, man, we're out, man. We'll holler at y'all later and stay tuned, man. We got more coming.
Peace.